Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We have been handed just a formidable stack of listener-submitted sources. We've got everything from guides on, the toughest interview questions to these really detailed breakdowns of professional English.
Right.
Our mission today is pretty laser-focused, helping you succeed in your next professional transition.
Exactly. We're deep diving into the strategy and, I guess, the execution of the job search. We're covering essential answering techniques like STAR, how to handle some of those really challenging situations, and even the subtle linguistic polish that can boost how competent you seem.
Yeah, and one of our sources offered this fantastic insight that I think just summarizes our whole purpose. It says the job search demands two key qualities, courage and knowledge. And the idea is you already have the courage to seek growth, so our job is to supply the precise knowledge you need to walk into that interview feeling, completely prepared.
I love that. We want to move beyond just the superficial tips and get into the strategic thinking behind every single answer.
You have to know the why.
You do. You need to understand the interviewer's objective.
So let's start at that fundamental level. If we had to boil down the strategy of interviewing to, one single principle, what would it be?
The core principle, and it's so important, is understanding what the employer wants. It's often phrased as what the buyer is buying. You're not there to just list your history.
Right.
You are there to show how your specific abilities, your experience, your energy, how it all matches their current pain points and solves their unique problem.
Oh, this plays out immediately in that classic opener. Could you tell me about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like most candidates mess this up. They give this rambling chronological history.
They do. Our guides really stress that the interviewer wants a focused narrative. It absolutely must be a story.
A story, okay.
It needs a great beginning, a riveting middle, and an end that makes the interviewer internally cheer for you. They should want you to get the job.
So how do you structure that?
You connect your academic foundation, your genuine passion for this specific industry, and the most relevant work experience that directly helps them. You skip all the irrelevant details.
And that required prep, that extends directly to questions about the work environment. Like, what type of work environment do you prefer? You can't just say a fun one.
Oh, please don't. You have to do your homework on the company culture first.
The best answers align really closely with the company's known structure.
So for instance,
if you're applying to a tech startup, you might talk about thriving in a flat organizational structure.
right, where you have direct access to leadership.
And rapid decision-making, yeah.
And just to define that quickly for our listener, a flat organizational structure basically means fewer layers of management.
Exactly. It promotes collaboration and usually a lot more autonomy for employees.
So you use their words. You use their words. If they prize autonomy, use that word. If they talk about intense collaboration, you use that word. Your preferred environment should sound exactly like their job description. It shows you researched them.
Okay, now let's talk about a phenomenal and frankly stressful trap that our sources highlight. It's called the silent treatment.
Yes.
You give a great answer, you stop talking, and the interviewer just stays quiet, stares at you.
It's a classic tactic. It's designed to test your reaction to awkwardness and stress.
And the trap is?
The trap is feeling that discomfort and trying to fill the silence by babbling. And you end up undermining the strong answer you just gave. You start adding irrelevant stuff or even contradicting yourself.
So how do you successfully navigate that void? What do you do?
You stay put. You remain polite, count to 3 in your head. And if the silence keeps going, you calmly ask if you can elaborate.
So you could say something like,
was there anything else about that example you'd like me to clarify? The key is you don't give your control over to the silence. You acknowledge it and offer a measured next step.
That brings us really neatly to structured answering, which is so crucial for behavioral questions. The dreaded, tell me about a time when scenarios.
We have to talk about the STAR method.
Absolutely indispensable.
The STAR method is the backbone of answering these questions well. It gives you this clear, logical story arc that focuses on outcomes and accountability. It works because it forces you to be specific.
Okay, let's break down the components. S is for situation. What's that?
You describe a specific real-world event. Not generally I am good at solving problems, but last quarter, our biggest client required us to pivot our entire marketing strategy with a 48-hour deadline.
So you're giving just enough context.
Just enough context for them to understand the challenge.
Then we move to T, the task.
This defines the specific goal. My task was to coordinate the creative team and redesign all the ad copy and visuals before the end of the day. Super specific.
Got it. Next up, the critical part. A for action.
This is where so many candidates fail because they say we.
Ah, yes.
The sources are clear. Focus only on your personal contribution. You detail the steps you took. I implemented a rapid triage system, or I personally rewrote the final 5 slogans. You have to use the word I.
Relentlessly.
Relentlessly. Claim ownership of what you did.
And finally, R is for result. This is the payoff.
Describe the measurable positive outcome. Did you save the client? Did you beat the deadline? And maybe most importantly, what did you accomplish and what did you learn from it? You should really aim to articulate multiple positive results if you can. Don't just say, it went well.
So let's apply this. A huge behavioral question is, how do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? They want proof you don't crumble.
And this is where STAR just shines. Don't generalize about your stress management routine. Instead, you tell a story about a situation where stress was high, say, an unexpected system failure. Then you detail the actions you took. Remaining calm, focusing on immediate problem solving, not pointing fingers, and prioritizing the core functionality.
But what if it's genuinely a skill you're still developing? You don't want to lie.
No, never lie. Honesty paired with action is the key. You could say something like, early in my career, I struggled to delegate under pressure.
That's very self-aware.
But I recognize this and have since proactively engaged in mindfulness practices every morning to ensure I approach deadlines with a clear mind. It shows self-awareness and a commitment to actually improving.
Love that. Another one that demands structure is prioritization. When you're juggling multiple high-priority projects, how do you stay efficient?
The key here is not just saying I prioritize. You have to demonstrate your system.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly. You could explain your use of time boxing.
Which is?
Time boxing is basically the proactive allocation of specific, scheduled blocks of time in your calendar for certain tasks. And you stick to it.
Okay, so in a STAR answer,
You'd say, when I had 3 competing demands situation, my goal was to deliver all 3 on time. Task. My action was to time box my entire week, allocating 2 hours just for Project A content creation. Action. The result was all 3 projects were delivered ahead of schedule. Result. It shows you have a method, not just an aspiration.
okay, we've covered strategy and structure. Let's talk about presentation. This is the delicate art of projecting confidence without slipping into arrogance. Our sources really drill down on this.
They do, and it's a vital difference. Arrogance, which one source calls the zero-sum trap, it stems from this need to feel superior.
Like a competition.
Exactly. If someone else wins, you lose. Arrogance leads to defensiveness, to micromanaging, and just a refusal to even consider alternatives.
Which is a terrible outcome in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. The arrogant person stops learning. They become what's sometimes called an expert beginner, someone who has knowledge but zero humility to apply it dynamically.
So how does confidence differ from that?
Confidence is rooted in self-trust, assertiveness, and a really robust self-awareness. But critically, confidence remains open to being wrong.
That's the key.
It is. Great leaders, great engineers, they project confidence by seeking to understand and collaborating because they know better ideas might exist outside their own head. They can hold their knowledge lightly.
So let's apply that to the interview room. If you're asked about a challenge, how do you strike that balance?
You use confidence to own your achievements and humility to own your process. You shouldn't, practice self-deprecation out of fear of seeming cocky.
Right. If you did it, own it.
Exactly. But if you don't know the answer to a highly technical question, the confident response isn't to bluff. It's to say, that specific technology is not one I've worked with.
Okay.
But based on my experience with X and Y platforms, I would immediately seek out the lead architect on that project to understand the core challenges, and I commit to learning that platform within 30 days.
That's a great answer. It uses confidence to project assertiveness about learning, but humility to admit the current gap.
It's a powerful combination. Our sources give 3 practical ways to show this balance. First, own your feedback. Confident people ask for criticism, and they use it.
Without getting defensive.
Right. Second, own your achievements without inflating them. And third, own your support system. Be honest about what you don't do well and empower the people who supplement your skills.
This sets us up perfectly for navigating what some might see as a fatal flaw, like not having a specific certification listed on your resume.
The path forward is honest, immediate counterweighting. You admit you don't have the certification, openly, but you immediately follow up
With what?
by describing a superior track record of achievement that shows you can do the job anyway. You pivot the focus from what you lack to how you excel in practical execution.
What about that tricky question of being seen as overqualified? I think that implies the interviewer thinks you'll get bored and leave.
You have to reassure them of your long-term commitment. Don't see it as a disadvantage. You frame it as an immediate benefit to them.
Okay, so you'd say something like,
While I do have extensive experience, I see this role as a critical opportunity to contribute value from day one. My advanced skill set means less training time for you, fewer errors, and I can start delivering results and even training others immediately.
saving the company time and money.
Exactly.
Let's shift gears to the polish of communication delivery. Something everyone struggles with. Filler words.
Ah, yes. The ums and ions.
Like, so. They undermine perceived competence because they just signal hesitation.
And it usually happens because our brains process information so fast, around 400 words per minute, but we only speak at about 125. That gap makes us panic and fill the space with noise.
So how do you interrupt that reflex?
The technique is to find peace in the pause. Instead of filling the gap with sound, you insert intentional silence.
The pause.
A 2 or 3 second pause. It lets the listener absorb what you just said, and crucially, it lets you center your thoughts and choose your next word with intention.
But wait, if I'm nervous, won't a 3-second silence feel like a 5-minute awkward gap?
It feels that way to you, but the reality is the listener perceives that silence as intentionality and confidence.
Especially after a complex idea.
Exactly. You're not rambling, you're being thoughtful. Practicing that purposeful pause is the key to mastering your delivery.
We can also elevate our vocabulary with professional phrasal verbs. They just sound so much more polished than the simple versions.
Absolutely. For instance, instead of just saying do, professionally, you should try to use carry out. As in, I regularly carry out many important tasks for the marketing team.
And what if we want to emphasize collaboration, reaching a shared goal?
That's where pull together comes in. We had to pull together quickly to meet the client's timeline.
And to show you're willing to expand your role, to accept new assignments.
Use take on. I am always willing to take on new responsibilities or clients. Using just those few verbs immediately signals a certain business literacy.
Let's quickly define 3 common idioms our listener might hear in a new workplace.
Sure. If you hear a project has been placed on the back burner, that means it's still important, but it's been downgraded to a low priority for now.
Okay.
If a colleague says you hit the nail on the head, that's high praise. It means you found exactly the right answer.
Nice.
And of course, getting your foot in the door means you've successfully entered a company or an industry, often in a starting role, with the goal of moving up later.
Okay, let's wrap up with the inevitable, often uncomfortable topic of compensation.
The salary question.
What is the golden rule for answering it?
The golden rule is so simple. Do not be the first one to bring up salary. You hold that leverage until the interviewer starts the discussion.
But when they do bring it up, you have to be ready.
Oh, it requires meticulous preparation. You have to research industry rates for that specific role and that specific location using tools like Glassdoor or professional networks. You have to know the market rate.
And what's the strategy when you give them a number?
Quote, a slightly higher salary range, not a single number.
A range. Why?
Well, if you expect, say, $90,000, you might quote a range of $92,000 to $98,000. It's psychologically easier for them to negotiate downward within your range than it is for them to agree to a number higher than your starting point. It gives you room to negotiate.
Smart. We should also touch on the question, what did you do in the last year to improve your knowledge?
Remember that learning comes from any valuable experience, professional or personal. You can discuss honing professional skills, online courses, reading industry journals, getting a new technical skill. But you can also talk about personal development, like mastering productivity techniques, focusing on mental resilience, or even committing to journaling to improve communication. The key is just showing that you have an intentional commitment to growth.
This deep dive has spanned so much. The strategic foundations, understanding the buyer's needs, the structure of STAR, the necessary mindset.
Confidence defined by humility.
Yes, and that openness to being wrong. And of course, the linguistic polish needed for clear communication, especially finding that peace in the pause.
Meticulous preparation really does position you as the ideal candidate. But our sources remind us that while candidates often prepare perfect answers for the company's tough questions, many fail to truly uncover why they want to work at this specific company, beyond the salary and the title.
So here is the final provocative thought we want to leave you with. Our sources prove that the most successful candidates have this deep internal alignment. So what specific research can you do today to ensure your deepest professional values align perfectly with the mission, the long-term goals, and the specific impact of the company you seek? Think beyond the job description, because that deep personal connection to the mission will be the foundation of your future courage and your success.